on a rainy, cloudy, and dark Sunday night in Northeast Ohio. And things, oh boy, are dark for the Cleveland Browns, who have lost again today, falling to the woeful Las Vegas Raiders 20-16. And it was another game where yet again they sucked across the board. Kevin Stefanski has done a terrible job so far this year. I have supported this guy. I have apologized for this guy. But I'm starting with him because he stinks. He's been terrible this year. The Coach of the Year awards are completely fraudulent. Anybody that thought he was the best coach in the NFL last year is a fraud. He was not. I know they did some good things. He did a pretty good job last year. But come on, the Coach of the Year. Stop with the Coach of the Year awards. If I have to hear one more person tell me about the Coach of the Year awards, I'm going to vomit all over my shirt. What the hell am I wearing, by the way? So Kevin Stefanski stinks right now. He is doing an absolutely awful job. Jim Schwartz, speaking of the coaching staff. And by the way, Jay Feely, it's really not that complicated. You live in Miami. There are Jews in Miami. It's Schwartz. Now, I don't think Jim Schwartz is actually Jewish, but like if you've met a Jew in your life, I'm Jewish, so I've met a Jew because I'm a Jew. If you've met one Jewish person in your life, you know it's pronounced Schwartz, not Swartz. It drives me freaking crazy. Say the name right. You're a professional broadcaster. And speaking of which, I would be a better play-by-play guy than 90%, maybe 95, probably 100% of the people doing play-by-play out there. There's a few that I'll give you, but most of them are worse than me. I would be better, and I haven't done it in 10 years. I would not mispronounce a name. It's Jim Schwartz. It's not that freaking complicated. He stinks too. He's done a terrible job. The defense has been ass this year. I don't want to hear about it. I was worried all offseason. Everybody told me great defense, great defense. I said all offseason I was worried that you can't trust defenses year to year, that the best defense often slides back the following season, and that's exactly what we're seeing so far. And let's face it, the Browns haven't faced the who's who of offensive talent to this point, and yet, against the Las Vegas Raiders with Gardner Hillbilly Minshew. I just screwed up his name. I just killed Feely for screwing up Schwartz's, and I just called him Manshew. I don't know what the hell I called him. All right. He's not any good. The Raiders have no running backs. Their best wide receiver was out. Their offensive line stinks, and the Browns defense made their offense look good. Look at this. 152 yards. They were the worst running game in the league through 3 weeks. The worst. And they put up 152 on the ground. What a disgrace. Outside of Myles Garrett and JOK, listen, Denzel Ward's a hell of a player. We know that. The rest of the defense was trash. Nobody on the offensive line did anything. Alex Wright with that stupid penalty, which led to 3 points for the Raiders, which could have been the difference in this game. Just terrible. Martin Emerson's got a concussion. He can't play either. That guy is overrated. Earl, I love you, buddy. I don't want to hear another word about Martin Emerson. The guy can't play. He is overrated. Let's face it. Hicks got hurt too. Not that we've seen him. He's been on a milk carton since he's been here. The defensive line's terrible. When Myles Garrett's not out there, there's no pressure. Myles Garrett played his ass off tonight. He's hurt. He's got 82 injuries. But he's got to play because the rest of the D-line stinks. And let me tell you something else. I'm going to tell you this. T.J. Watt is a good football player. He is not a pimple on the ass of Myles Garrett. Not a pimple on the ass. If you think T.J. Watt is better than Myles Garrett, you're an idiot. An idiot idiot. Myles Garrett is way better. I shouldn't be calling people idiots. I always complain about the name calling. It's not nice, and I'm so fired up that I'm name calling, and that's wrong. It's wrong. I shouldn't name call. But Myles Garrett is way better than T.J. Watt. Not even close. And he played great tonight, but he got no help because the rest of the D-line stinks. I am a knucklehead for thinking Alex Wright was going to have double-digit sacks this year. They're a bunch of mediocre guys. Zadarius Smith is Zadarius Zero. He hasn't made a big play in 2 years since he was on with the Vikings or whatever. I think it was the Vikings 2022 that he was on. So the defense, trash. Now the offense. I'll tell you, one of the people I blame the least for this game is DeShaun Watson. DeShaun Watson made mostly good throws. Now we're going to find out who the frauds are. We'll find out who the frauds are when they say to you, if anybody says to you, or if any media member, there will be national media members who fall into this trap. But any of your friends, any of the Baker bros, and I know Baker's playing well. He played like shit last week, but he's played well overall this year. Everybody loves him. Fine. I'm still rooting against him. I'm not going to lie. But you'll be able to tell who's a fraud because they'll say, well, Watson threw a pick. Okay, technically he did. But if you weren't watching the game, if you were watching the game, you know that the pick was 100% on Amari Cooper. Not 98, not 99. Amari Cooper, who's had his head up his ass for 3/4 of the season, that pick was on him. Hit him right in the chest. I mean, what can you do? Watson made good throws today. He completed 75% of his passes. Even with that interception, he still completed 75% of his passes. I thought he played pretty well today. My only criticism, really, of DeShaun is on the last play of the game, on that 4th down play. And I'll get back to Kevin Stefanski and how stupid he was today. See, again with the name calling. I gotta be smarter. I gotta be more educated and I gotta use my college degree for better wording here. Not that the college degree, total waste of money. It's a complete scam. Complete scam. And all I got my college, every 10 seconds I got an email from my college asking for money. Broadport has not put me in the Broadcasters Hall of Fame yet, and they want money from me? I'm the best broadcaster that's ever come out of that school. You're not getting a dime from me. Not a dime. I've been insulted. You're out. You're dead to me. Where was I? My beef with Watson, my only beef with Watson in this game is on the final play of the game, on that 4th down play. He's forced out of the pocket. For a second, Jerry Jeudy was open. He was looking at Cooper. I'm not going to kill him for that. He had to be looking at that moment. I'm sure everybody's going to be pointing that out because it's easy to just listen, I've been so critical of Watson the last 2 years, but I'm not just going to pile on aimlessly. That's stupid. He played a decent game today. He was the least of the problems today, in my opinion. If you're fair about it. If you're going to be biased and you just hate him, and then you'll just be biased about it. But that's not fair. But on that 4th down play, my beef is not with the Jerry Jeudy thing. It's that once he's forced out of the pocket and he's scrambling and he's looking, he can't take the sack. He's got to just heave it up there. Because if you take the sack, the game's over. You got to heave it up. He's got to find a way to just throw it and hope that somebody makes a play. It's a minor, and I'm not going to go bananas about that. Heat of the moment, I get it, but the quarterback's got to know he's got to just flip it up. I know the odds of completing that are almost nothing, but almost nothing is better than nothing. So that's my only real beef. I thought overall he played a decent game. But how you got in that situation, why is Kevin Stefanski calling a timeout before that 4th down play? Why? Ross Tucker pointed it out in the broadcast. If you don't call the timeout there, and let me go back to the play-by-play here of this situation that Kevin Stefanski bought 2 weeks in a row, a major botch by Stefanski at the end of the game. So it's 4th and 3 at the 9, right? You got 40 seconds. Now, that's when they call the timeout, 41 seconds. But they could have run that play much earlier. If you don't call the timeout, you could have run that play, and if you get stopped, you would have had a minute to go and all 3 timeouts. The Raiders were going to run the ball. They were not going to throw deep in their own territory. And had you stopped them 3 times, the Browns would have gotten the ball back with probably 40 seconds left and decent field position. Obviously, it's no short thing. They would have won. They needed the touchdown because somehow Hopkins missed that extra point, which was awful. But how's Kevin Stefanski not thinking of that? That is terrible. He wasted a timeout in the first half with trying to draw offsides, which almost never works. I hated earlier in the game, at the end of the first half, he doesn't kick the field goal. What is that? you could say, well, Bull, he just missed the extra point at the end of the game. But, yeah, at that time, he had just made a 55-yard field goal, whatever the hell it was. How many yards was that? 56? And you don't let him kick a 57, 58-yarder? I know the Raiders would have had good field position, but Kevin Stefanski played scared, and that was a terrible decision. The waste of the timeout in the first half, the waste of the timeout in the second half was beyond bonehead. Kevin Stefanski has made horrific bonehead decisions 2 weeks in a row, and this is the first time I'm going to say this. Kevin Stefanski overall has done a good job as head coach, even though I think the Coach of the Year award is people use it in a stupid way, as if it makes him a great coach, which obviously he's not. He's a good coach. But for the first time since Kevin Stefanski's been here, I do believe right now it's time to give up the play calling. I have never once said that. In the entire time he's been here, I have defended Stefanski and defended his calling plays. But he has shown you 2 weeks in a row, in horrific manner that may have cost his team the game, that he is getting lost in the soup in these tough situations. We know he's smart, and he's been unbelievably stupid at the end of these games. Again, name calling bad. Terrible, absolutely terrible. Ken Dorsey, who I don't think is a particularly great offensive coordinator, but we got to find out. Let him call the plays. It is absolutely time, and I'm going to be on this all this week. It is absolutely. Oh, lost my pen. I overreacted. I lost that pen as if I dropped a vial of poison there. I don't know what happened. I guess I didn't want to write on my shirt, but I need my pen. Hold on, water break. You know, sometimes you drink water and it tastes, you're like, it's water, whatever. But sometimes you drink perfect temperature, ice water, and it tastes better than water. Almost like it's got a flavor, but it doesn't. You know what I'm talking about. Let me do it again. So Stefanski has to give up play calling. I'm on that today. I'm going to be talking about it tomorrow on UCSS. I'll talk about it again on the podcast Tuesday, the live show Thursday, UCSS all week. Kevin Stefanski, it's time. The team is faltering. They're very bad on both sides of the ball right now. Kevin Stefanski needs to give up play calling. He needs to focus on how he's using his timeouts. His clock management has been hideous. His decision-making was gutless in the first half. And, I mean, it's just absolutely absurd. The whole coaching staff did a terrible job. Obviously, the missed extra point was a killer. After the turnover, the offense did nothing, really. And, again, it sounds crazy to say Watson had a decent game. I thought he did, but the team let him down. Amari Cooper was terrible again today. I thought Jerry Jeudy played all right. That was a nice run by Jerome Ford late in that game, man. I really thought when Jerome Ford had that run, how many yards was that? 35 yards for Jerome Ford to the 16. When he had that run, and then it's the 2-minute warning, I'm sitting on my couch, and I said, Browns are going to pull this one out. They've been shit all day, and they're going to pull this game out. My man, Jerome Ford, nice run. And then that final series, right? Coming out of the 2-minute warning, this says on the play-by-play, it says DeShaun Watson fumbles. DeShaun Watson didn't fumble. Nick Harris, who don't know what the hell he's doing, he can't play center to save his. I don't know how this guy's an offensive lineman. He can't play. He snaps the ball. Watson's not even ready for it. And you can tell the rest of the team wasn't ready for it either. Nick Harris, that's all on him. So that you get set up at the 2-minute warning at the 16 freaking yard line. And then I'm trying not to name call. I'm really trying not to. The center, who is not particularly great, snaps the ball when the quarterback's not ready. So now, instead of 1st and 10 for the 16, all the momentum going, now you're looking at 2nd and 16 at the 22. You try to hit Akins, no good, 3rd down. All right, 3rd down, nice play. Amari Cooper holds on to it for once. You get 13 yards, you're at a 4th down, and that's, again, where Kevin Stefanski botched it. First tries to get them to jump off sides, then calls the timeout, and obviously it didn't work. They stopped him. Watson gets sacked, and, end the game. Raiders take a knee, goodbye. Browns are now 1-3 on the season. You know what? I went through all that rant, and I didn't even talk about the offensive line. The offensive line was not as bad as last week. It was, again, not good enough. DeJuan Jones, man. What happened? Did he? DeJuan Jones was apparently on the Adam the Bull eating plan this offseason. And the Adam the Bull eating plan is eat every freaking moment you can and don't worry about if it's healthy or not. That was DeJuan Jones' plan because he's over 400 pounds. There's no chance he's not over 400 pounds. He's beyond slow. DeShaun Watson yelled at him on the field, yelled at him on the sideline. He was 100% right. He's playing like a zero. It's unacceptable, and he is the biggest culprit. Nick Harris obviously can't play center. I thought that the rest of the line did a decent job, but it's not good enough. And DeJuan Jones can't play anymore. They got to take him out of the lineup. I don't know what Kevin Stefanski's doing. That's another criticism. He can't play, but they're not playing well enough defensively. They're not playing well enough offense. I mean, they haven't scored more than 18 points in a game. I know scoring is down. I get it. It's down overall, so it's not as bad as it sounds. But the Browns have scored 66 points on the season. That is what? 15 a game, 16 a game, 32, 16 and a half points a game. Who is averaging less than that? The Patriots, Dolphins, let's see, 16. The Titans, congratulations there. The Broncos, the Giants, slightly less, and that's it. So the Browns are averaging like the 27th, 28th most points in the league. Their defense is not playing great. They've given up 87 points in 4 games. That's almost 22 a game. That's, looking at it quickly, that's lower middle of the pack. So you're not playing well on either side of the ball. Now, the entire AFC North is off to a bad start. But here's what I'll say. Obviously, the Steelers until today played well, but their defense has been excellent so far this season. So they got one side of the ball. Their offense is not very good. Their defense is excellent. The Ravens, their offense has played well. They got 71 points in 3 games so far. They've played well enough on offense for the most part. They're not playing good enough defensively. The Bengals, their defense is horrible, maybe the worst in the league. Last 2 weeks, absolutely atrocious. But they've scored 102 points. The Bengals are like 6th or 7th in the league in scoring. So their offense, so at least the other 3 teams in this division have one unit playing well. Steelers defense, Ravens offense, Bengals offense are playing well. The Browns got nothing. Nothing. They're relegated with the shit teams. Now, the season's not over because right now in the AFC, there are only 4 teams over 500. The Chiefs are 4-0. The Texans and Steelers are 3-1. And we know the Steelers are a fraud. They're a mediocre team. The Bills are 3-0. And they play, what do they play? Tonight or tomorrow? I think tonight, right? Yeah, they play the Ravens. That game's starting soon. Be a good game to watch. Then you got the 500 teams. The Jets are 2-2. The Colts are 2-2. The Chargers are 2-2, and the Raiders and the Broncos are 2-2. So and the Colts. Everybody's still in the mix. It's way too early to give up on the season, but the Browns have to turn it around right now, and they got to play a Washington team next week. That their rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, the last 2 weeks has been unstoppable. They've scored 81 points the last 2 games. And Jaden Daniels, I mean, he looks lights out. And that's what you got to face next week. A guy who's throwing the ball great. He's completed like 90% of his passes the last 2 weeks. You're on the road again. They're a fired-up team. They're 3-1 in first place in their division. You got to go there the way they're playing right now. Their defense isn't very good, but I don't know if the Browns can score. The Raiders' defense isn't any good. And the Browns are just have nothing on either side of the ball. But they've got – it's not too late, folks. I know it feels like they got nothing, but it's not too late. But they've got to turn it around now. It can't wait any longer. DeShaun's got to be better. And again, if you missed it earlier, I blame DeShaun less than almost anybody else in this game. I thought DeShaun played a decent game today. 24-32, that's 75%. One touchdown, the pick, again, not on him. 100% the fault of Amari Cooper. He ran when he needed to. He was good getting out of the pocket. He made a lot of good throws in this game and very few bad ones. I'm not going to tell you it was spectacular because the offense didn't do enough. And ultimately, he's the leader of the offense. It wasn't good enough. But he wasn't bad today. Not at all. He played a decent game. I actually thought he played his best game of the year today. Not great. Don't get me wrong. Decent. The drops, not good enough. The receivers can't get open. They dropped the ball. The line, not good enough. Again, better. The line was better. Not good enough. And DeJuan Jones, got to bench him. He's not an NFL player right now. And I know he did a good job as a rookie. But right now, he can't play in the NFL. Hold on. And ultimately, let's see. I saw the hold on. Let me see. I saw quickly the spread, the early line on the Browns Commanders. What is the line here? Commanders by 3 is the early line. Honestly, the way the Commanders are playing and the way the Browns are playing, I think that will go even more in the command. It's hard to move a line off of 3, but I think the Commanders should be favored by more at home the way they're playing. Right now, the Browns are not a good football team. They're not being coached well. They're not playing offense well. They're not playing defense well. The special teams, outside of the kicker and the punter, not good enough. And even the kicker missed an extra point, which, who knows? You know, obviously the Raiders might have played defense differently on that last drive, but nonetheless, they would have had a chance to tie it with a field goal, and from there, you never know what happens. All right, I got a million messages on YouTube here. I'll try to get to as many as I can. Okay, let's start with Bill. At this point, I tell every team that everyone is available for trade, need to get younger, more athletic, more physical. Team is slow and soft. Not ready for that yet. I know there's going to be a lot of that sentiment, and at some point that may come. I'm not giving up on the season when I'm a game out of a playoff spot. I know it sounds crazy. I know in this moment we're all pissed. They suck right now, and if it doesn't turn around soon, then I'm on board with trade. First of all, this is not baseball or basketball. You don't, make over a team during the season. But if it continues to go this way, they lose the next 2 in Washington and in Philly, and Philly, terrible today. Then maybe we start talking about that. Maybe we start talking about a quarterback. I'm not ready in the draft. I'm not ready to go there just yet. Clink Tattoos. I'm ready for the rebuild. Again, I'm not quite ready there yet. I know it's raw. It's raw because they sucked today. They had a chance. I didn't even mention the penalty. That penalty, listen, I thought it was a bad call. You call that on every play. I know, what's his name gets on the broadcast. What's his name, the referee? Former referee. I can't think of his name. Doesn't matter. Ross Tucker's giving you a whole song. I love Ross. He gave the whole song and dance on why it shouldn't have been called, and then the ref consultant changed his mind. But I thought it was a bad call. It would have been a huge touchdown. It was a great play that was really a great play by Watson. Getting out of the pocket, finding a wide open Cooper, hitting him in stride. Would have been an 80-yard touchdown. They don't call that penalty. Watson's numbers look legit this week. And we would have said he had a really good game. That's why part of the reason why I think he played pretty well today. And stop with the referees are fixing the game. It was a bad call. It was a questionable call. I mean, letter of the law, you could call it. I wouldn't have called it in that situation. I think that play happens, something like that, every play. I thought it was a weak call. I didn't think it affected the play. But they called it. The league's not fixed. Stop it. You know how much the NFL makes so much money. If it were fixed and they found out, You know how much the league would have to lose? It makes no sense. When people talk about conspiracy theories, do they ever think about the reality of how stupid that is? Obviously not. Pal May, it's time to rebuild. Another rebuild. Sam Oive. You said it, Sam. DJ Remayhew. Offense scored 0 points after the first quarter. But sure, Watson doesn't deserve any of the blame for today. I didn't say any. He didn't play. Ultimately, he didn't do enough. But come on, be fair about it, DJ Remayhew. He wasn't the biggest. I mean, come on. He played a decent game today. Let's be fair about it. Alvarido, fire Kevin immediately. He's the worst coach in the league. I don't agree with that at all. But he's got to give up play calling. I think it's time. Akimbo, RPGs. Browns going to the Super Bowl in my lifetime is like winning the lottery. 0-5er, no consistency. Mikey McGee. Watson played pretty good today. I blame Hopkins for them missing the extra point, Amari for dropping passes and costing the interception, the ref on the holding call. Tony, fire Kevin. Z, who produces the show and is a Browns fan. What quarterback are we drafting with our top 5 pick? I haven't even looked at that yet. I don't give a rat's ass about college football. I don't pay any attention to college football. Obviously, if the Browns are going to end up drafting a quarterback, which they may, we're going to dive into that at some point. I'm not ready to go there yet. I find college football to be boring. Brandon C. Miles will get burned out playing injured. That's fair. And he had to sit a lot today. 0-5er. Can we have your input on Stefanski conservative play calling? Not kicking the field goal was a big surprise. All the passes are short. I think part of that, though, is because the offensive line can't hold up. I think he's forced to be conservative, but not trying that field goal at the end of the first half was so out of character for him. It was very disappointing. Roderick Wilson, if they ban Adam the Bull, then Berry should not have gotten a contract extension. Neither Kevin. Listen, I thought they should have because I think they're both good at their jobs, but they're not good enough. Fog Raw, $240 million quarterback throws for 175 yards. Yippee. Hey, never said yippee. Said he wasn't bad. What can I tell you? Are my only two choices he sucks or he's great? Is that what we're going to do every week? Nobody disagrees. Or I shouldn't say nobody. I certainly don't disagree that this whole DeShaun Watson thing overall has been a disaster. I get it. But I'm not just going to go every game and only have two options. He's terrible. He's great. That's silly. Be fair, and there's gray area, and he played a decent game today. I'm not going to kill him every game. I'm not saying he played great. I'm saying he did a decent job today under the circumstances. Jay, Browns need to win 11 to get in the playoffs. Probably. Maybe you get in on 10. Browns are not going to the playoffs, I don't think. I didn't pick them to make the playoffs. I picked them to finish 9-8 this year, and I thought they'd get off to a better start than this, so I'm not even sure they're going to be over 500, but you can't give up on the season yet. Let's see. Raul Havana, Baker and Flacco played better. Numbers-wise, yeah. I mean, Baker certainly played better. I didn't see Baker or Flacco play. Cocky Hemi, you're right about one thing, Bull. College is a scam. I overstated. Some of it is scamish, but not everything. There is some value to college for certain professions. And I did get great experience working at the college radio station. My classes were a complete waste. Prime Cheese, salute to Trey Tucker from CVCA. He played great. Northeast Ohio's own Trey Tucker. He was a threat in this game. He played really well. Brandon C., throw a jump ball in 4 and 3. Yeah, 4th and 3. That's my biggest beef with Watson. He's got to throw it up on that 4th down play. He's got to at least give somebody a chance to make a catch. Andy Howe, Bull, can you imagine if Stefanski didn't get his extension before the start of the season? He'd be on the hot seat right now, honestly. He would be. And I wouldn't fire him. But I think he's got to give up play calling, as I said. Amari needs to catch the ball. Chillaxin, man. You're right. Fog Raw says the timeout was fine. It was not, Fog Raw. You could have stopped the clock. If he had not called that timeout, they could have stopped the clock and gotten the ball back with at least 30, if not 40, 45 seconds left. With probably good field position because the Raiders would have been buried deep in their own territory. The odds of them scoring would have been slim. I get it, but give yourself a chance. Chester says, fire Kevin. Yes, Fog Raw. 30 seconds, they're going 70. I don't know that they would have had to go 70 yards. Could have been 50. Let me ask you this. Would you rather have no chance, or would you rather have 30 seconds and 70 yards? Even if that's a 1% chance, it's better than nothing. Raul says, Jetstream caused the miss. It was indoors. What are you talking about? G Turk, where's the winning culture at? Zero accountability on this team. Individuals playing hero ball, not a team. At least we didn't see the idiotic dancing when they were down this week. Situfu, utter buffoonery. Sad ASF. 0-5er. Love you, Bull. Love you, 0-5er. Let's see. Fog Raw. Yeah, we need Dorsey. Just look how the Bills' offense dropped off after they got rid of him. Well, that Bills' offense was also good the year before, was it not? And by the way, if you look at the analytics after he left, it wasn't significantly different. In some ways, they were worse. It's not about how good Dorsey is. I'm not saying he's a great offensive coordinator. It's the last couple of weeks, it's looked very clear that Kevin needs to take something off his plate. Levi Robin. TJ Watt has made more clutch game-winning plays than Garrett every year. Last year you talked about how Miles is better because he's getting doubled more. Now TJ's getting doubled more. You're lost, Levi Robin. I love you. I appreciate you watching. You're lost. TJ Watt has had great players around him all the time. Myles Garrett has had nobody around him. Nobody. He gets double-teamed way more, including this year. Rob, he used a timeout on that last drive instead of keeping it to give them one more shot. Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, that's a borderline fireable offense. David, we find ways to lose. Yes. Chitufu, expectations are a bitch. Chillaxin, man. Watson was great again. Finally got a franchise quarterback. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not. I'm certainly not going that far. Again, I'm not saying you have to take some responsibility from Kevin Stefanski. He may have cost them 2 games in the last 2 weeks, or contributed to them losing 2 games in the last 2 weeks. 6-11, says John. Fograw, Flacco averaged 330 yards per game with more injuries than people were excited about 175. Oh, my God. Enough, Fograw. Nobody's excited. O-line is terrible. That's true. G Turk says they're going to be 4-13. Top 5 draft pick again. Situfu Bull, we're not winning the division. We need a wild card. It's pretty obvious. Fair. I don't think they're getting either. Mr. Pop Culture, I don't want to hear about the Cooper drop when he would have made up for it with an 82-yard touchdown. I mean, Watson made that play. He was wide open. It's still bad. Bill says Browns will be lucky to win 4. Jason, do you think the Browns will get the top pick they're trading or taking a quarterback? If the Browns end up with a top 5 pick, they're taking a quarterback. They have to. Because if they have a top 5 pick, that means DeShaun Watson was at best mediocre this year, and that's not good enough. They got to think about the future, 100%. Cooper doesn't suck, but he's not playing well. Cavs season right around the corner. Who cares about Cavs season right now? The Guardians are in the playoffs, baby. Yes, Dave, that's what matters. The Guardians are in the playoffs. They're going to play the winner of the Astros-Tigers series starting in 6 days. That's what I'm looking forward to. Watson choked on 4th and 1. Nah, you don't run the ball. It wasn't 4th and 1. It was 4th and 3. Watson choked. I don't see that. I don't look at it that way. Not to me. DeShaun to the Dolphins, Cooper to the Chiefs. Can this be done to help with the rebuild? Nobody's taking DeShaun's contract. Rob says the Browns will finish 2-15. Cleveland, bro, someone else needs to call plays. Someone needs to keep a fire lit under the players. The players came out like they didn't want to win. They played. They kind of, at times in the second half, looked like they were quitting until that turnover. It was getting ugly. Gary, can we retire the elf for a more intimidating mascot? That'd be good. T ripped down the stairs. If the Browns have a top 10 pick, I want a quarterback. Fair. Dave says, I blame the elf. Joshua, everyone's scared of the truth now and dazed. Didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so I'm a good guy. I don't know what that means. E. Burns, go Guardians, the class of Cleveland. No doubt that's 100% true. 05er, we miss Kareem Hunt today. Rob, do you think Kevin gets fired? No. Carl, this is not a playoff team. True. Rob, if the season is a blow-up. What? Oh, if the season's a blow-up, does Kevin get fired? I don't think so. Alaskan dude, Arch Manning looks good. Ron Bailey, I hate the elf. Me too. Alvarado, Myles Garrett will not be a Brown this offseason. Myles Garrett may want out this offseason. I wouldn't blame him. Dem, retire the Denny's menu. I don't need a Denny's. Ron Bailey, Baker just wins. Not completely true. He's got a mediocre record. Don't overstate. Baker's playing well. I'm giving him his credit. By the way, these guys like Ron Bailey that want to talk about Baker, every time he played like shit and I brought it up, we had a bunch of snowflakes like Ron Bailey saying, "Oh, why do you keep bringing up Baker?" I don't know what that was. I don't know what I'm doing there. Tom, did you see Joe Hayden in the stands? I did. Yes, I did. James B., I want an apology from Jimmy Myopic Haslam and resignation of the franchise. That would be great. It's not going to happen. Eric Bull, please tell me how can we bring some starting offensive linemen from other teams? Can't do it right now. Tank Bull, we want Winston. Not the answer. Thomas Brown, should have kicked the field goal on 4th down with 3 timeouts still. Nah, I don't agree. But you can make that argument. I don't agree, but you can make it. Aharb, Amari looks like he has no buy-in this season since the trade rumors surfaced. If that's the case, that's a loser mentality by him. I don't believe that. I think it's coincidence. Bill Todd, do you miss the Flacco yet? I do not. Go Steelers. F you. F you, Bill, and F the Steelers. I hope the Steelers lose every game. I hope their stadium, I don't know. I don't want to say anything crazy. I hate the Steelers. I hate their coach. I hate their quarterbacks. I hate their roster. I hate everything about the Steelers. They are all that is evil and wrong in this world. Alvarado, if the Ravens lose tonight, do we still have a chance? Sure. Ryan Sansone, Judy looks like our best player. He's just a guy. Let's see. Tank Bowl, everybody good we let go. Baker, Hunt, Flacco, DPJ. Is DPJ even in the league? E. Burns, Watson deal, the master stroke blunder of expansion Browns history. This one takes the cake. Alaskan dude, which fans are worse, Steelers or Knicks? Steelers. Steeler fans are the worst. They're the worst fan base in America. They're unbearable. Oh, God, do I hate them. Ron, last time the Browns won a playoff game, Baker was quarterback and almost beat the Chiefs. Almost. It wasn't even the Chiefs. They didn't have Patrick Mahomes. Ron, Bailey's a nice Ron, Bailey. Baker's a nice mediocre quarterback. He plays well in meaningless games early. He chokes when it matters. He's thrown more picks than almost any quarterback in the league the last 5 years. I get it. He's playing better than Watson. The Watson trade looks bad. Be happy, all right? I'm glad, Ron, that you're rooting against your own team. Good for you. Congratulations. Buckeye Bob, at least Minnesota's off the hook for the worst trade ever. No, that trade was worse. Aharb, who would have thought Sam Darnold would look better than Watson in 24? So far, true. Chillaxin, man. We just haven't had wide receivers this year, a good running game. True. All right. Thanks, everybody. Hopefully we'll bounce back next week. I mean, obviously right now, this has just been beyond ugly. A lot of people watching live. I really appreciate that you're all joining me live. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you're one of the hundreds of people watching right now and you have not subscribed to my podcast yet, please do so. It would be much appreciated. The Bullpen with Adam the Bull. I'll be back on Tuesday with another podcast. I'll be live again on Thursday at 2 o'clock, and then back again after the Browns play Washington next week. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'll talk. Thanks to Z and Max for producing. Sorry, guys. After I was paying close attention to the graphics earlier. Can we look at the standings graphic one more time, guys? If we can throw that up there. I don't know if you've thrown this up already. Ravens just playing right now, about to start. Bengals got their first win today. Steelers got their first loss. I'm pointing to these with my mouse like that you can see it, but you can't. I'm doing it like you can see it. I'm a little crazy right now, but anyway, there's the AFC North standings. So it's not over. It's not over, but it feels like it is. Tomorrow's another day, and Kevin Stefanski's got to give up play calling. Love you all. Thanks for sending all the messages in the chat. I'll talk to you next time. Again, thanks to Z and Max, and thanks to all of you. Please hit the subscribe button. We'll talk to you on Tuesday. I'll be on UCSS tomorrow. Also, an Ultimate Guardian show Tuesday. I'll be doing more stuff after the Guardians playoff games. I'll be doing 2 Guardians post-game shows. More coming up on that. A lot of Guardians coverage coming up starting on Saturday. We'll talk to you next time. Where else? But right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. Use that Bet Rivers app. It's right here. It's right here. Use it. Bet Rivers. Use the app. It's great. My same game parlay did not hit, though, today. I had I switched. I had picked the Raiders to win, and then when it was announced that Max Crosby and Jamal Adams were going to be out, not Jamal Adams, Davante Adams were going to be out, I flip-flopped. The Browns went from +2 to -3. I took the Browns, and, of course, they shit the bed, as we've been talking about all night. I'll talk to you next time. We'll see you later. Bye, everybody.